How I Saw Savannah. At lunch, I squeezed in next to Maya and Rand, who were hunched over yet another one of Maya's giant dot games, which were getting more and more elaborate. "So," I said happily, "good news, guys! I got picked to be in Mrs. Aunt Nobby's 60s dance show for the benefit in March! Yay!" "Yay!" Maya answered, not looking up from the dot game. "That's great, Charlotte." "Yay!" echoed Rand. "Congrats!" "Summer got in too." "Oh, yay! Good for her," said Maya. "I like Summer. She's always so nice." Rand, who was marking a row of boxes she had just closed off with her initial, looked up at Maya and smiled. 15, she said. "Ugh," said Maya, grinding her teeth. She had just gotten braces and was making a lot of funny movements with her mouth these days. I flicked my eraser at them. "That sure is one intense game of dots you're playing there," I said sarcastically. "Ha ha," said Maya, leaning into me with her shoulder. "That's so funny I forgot to laugh." "The mean girl table is looking at you," said Rand. "What?" I said. Both Maya and I turned around in the direction she was staring. But Savannah, Jimena, Gretchen, and Ellie turned away the moment I glanced in their direction. "They were so just talking about you," said Maya, giving them her dirtiest look through her black-framed glasses. "Stop that, Maya," I said to her. "Why? I don't care," she answered. "Let them see me." She bared her teeth at them like some kind of crazy ferret. "Stop looking at them, Maya," I whispered through my own gritted teeth. "Fine," she said. She went back to playing her colossal game of dots with Rand, and I concentrated on eating my ravioli. At one point, I could feel someone's eyes burning into my back, so I turned around to sneak a peek at the Savannah table again. This time around, Jimena, Gretchen, and Ellie were talking together, completely oblivious to me. But Savannah was glaring right at me, and she didn't look away when our eyes met. She just continued staring me down. Then, right before she finally stopped, she poked her tongue out at me. It happened so fast, no one else would have seen it, and it seemed so childish I almost couldn't believe it. That's when I realized that I had got it wrong before, about Summer taking the third spot in Mrs. Aunt Nobby's dance piece. I had thought that spot should have gone to Savannah, not Summer. But in Savannah's view, it wasn't Summer who had taken that spot from her. It was me. "Charlotte's always the first to sign in," she had said. Savannah blamed me for taking her rightful spot in the dance. How we got off to an awkward start. All the next day, the threat of a snowstorm made everyone kind of giddy and uncertain, since there was talk that the school would close early if it came down as bad as the forecast predicted. Luckily, because the last thing in the world I wanted was for our first rehearsal to be canceled, the snow only started falling in the late afternoon, not hard at all. So I made my way up to the performance space as quickly as I could after the last bell. Given that Mrs. Aunt Nobby had issued such a threatening warning about being late, I wasn't surprised that both Summer and Jimena were already there, too. We said hello to one another before changing into our dance clothes. It was a little awkward at first, I guess. The three of us had never really hung out together before. We were from different groups, our own version of mammals, reptiles, and fish. Summer and I only had one class together. And like I said before, I barely knew Jimena. The longest conversation we'd ever had was back in December, in Miss Rubin's class, when she asked me, without a shred of remorse, if I would mind switching partners with her so she could be paired up with Savannah. Which is how I ended up with Remo as my science fair project partner. But that's a whole other story not worth telling. We started doing warm-ups and stretches to pass the time. Mrs. Aunt Nobby was now almost half an hour late. "Do you think this is how it's always going to be?" said Jimena, mid-bump-ma. "Mrs. Aunt Nobby being late?" "She's never on time to theater class," I said, shaking my head. "Right," Jimena said. That's what I'm afraid of. Maybe she just got stuck in the snow? Summer said, somewhat hopefully. It's starting to come down pretty hard now, I think. Amena made a face. Yeah, maybe she needs a dog sled, she answered quickly. Ha ha ha, I laughed, but I could tell I sounded dorky. Please, God, please don't let me seem dorky in front of Jimena Chin. The truth is, Jimena Chin made me a little nervous. I don't know why exactly. It was just that she was so cool and so pretty, and everything about her was always so perfect. The way she wrapped her scarf, the way her jeans fit her, the way she fastened her hair into the neatest twist, everything was so flawless with her. I remember from the moment Jimena started at Beecher Prep this year, everybody had wanted to be her friend, including me. I'm sure she didn't even remember this, but I was the one who helped her find her locker on the first day of school. I was the one who let her borrow a pencil in third period, which she never returned to me, come to think of it. But Savannah was the one who became her best friend. Savannah managed to zoom in on her within the first nanosecond of school. And then, forget it. It was like the big bang of friendships. It just exploded into an instantaneous universe of knowing looks and giggles and clothes and secrets. There was really no chance of getting to know Jimena better after that. The truth is, she didn't make much of an effort to expand beyond the Savannah group anyway. Maybe she felt like she didn't actually have to. People said she was kind of a snob. All I really knew about her was that she had the most amazing leg extension I'd ever seen, the highest scores in our grade, and she was snarky, meaning she made a lot of clever observations about people behind their backs. There were a bunch of people, like Maya, for instance, who couldn't stand her, but I couldn't wait to get to know her better. To be friends with her, maybe. To laugh at her sarcastic jibes. More than anything, though, I just really, really, really wanted her to like me. I hope this is all going to be worth the time suck, Jimena was saying. I mean, we've got so many other things going on this month. That science fair project? I haven't even started mine, said Summer. Me neither, I said, though that actually wasn't true at all. Remo and I had finished our diorama of a cell the first week back from winter break. I just want to make sure we get enough rehearsal time for this dance, Jimena said, looking at her phone. I don't want to be on stage at Carnegie Hall looking like a total idiot because we didn't rehearse enough, all because Mrs. Antonobby was too flaky to show up on time. You know, I said, trying to sound casual, if we ever need a place to rehearse away from school, you guys could come over to my house. I have a mirrored wall in my basement and a bar. My mom used to teach ballet out of our house. I remember your basement, said Summer cheerfully. You had that flower fairy birthday party there once. Back in the second grade, I answered, a little embarrassed she would mention flower fairies in front of Jimena. Do you live far from here? Jimena asked me, scrolling through her texts. Just 10 blocks away. Okay, text me your address, she said. Sure, I said, whipping out my phone, thinking, I'm texting Jimena Chin my address, like the big dork that I am. Sorry, what's your number? She didn't look up from her phone, but held her hand up to my face like a crossing guard. There, running vertically down the side of her palm, was her phone number, written in neat block letters in dark blue pen. I keyed her number into my contacts and texted her my address. Hey, I said as I was texting, you guys could come over tomorrow after school if you want. We can start rehearsing then. Okay, Jimena mumbled casually, which made me want to gasp. Jimena Chin is coming over to my house tomorrow. Oh, I actually can't, said Summer, squinting her eyes apologetically. I'm hanging out with Augie tomorrow. What about Friday then? I asked. Can't, said Jimena. She had obviously finished texting now and looked up. Then maybe next week? I said. We'll figure out some other time, Jimena answered indifferently. She started running her fingers through her hair. I forget you're friends with the freak, she said to Summer, smiling. What's that like? I don't think she was even trying to be mean when she said this. That's really just how a lot of people automatically referred to Augie Pullman. I looked at Summer. Don't say anything, I thought. But I knew she would.